Hi all, today I am going to teach you how to take your holiday Amaryllis and turn it into a cool year-round display where you can see the entire life cycle from the root development and then into the future floral production. It's going to be really cool. It's a great way to get flowers in your indoor garden year-round. This Amaryllis bulb was once absolutely gorgeous, and this bloomed for Christmas. It was a wonderful Christmas treat to see these vibrant, huge red blooms, and it was such a joy to have that extra color and growth and life, especially in the winter. So Amaryllis is great for that. However, the blooms are gone now, but that bulb is still alive. It spent so much energy, as you can see, growing these huge long leaves, which were what was doing photosynthesis, gathering all that energy so that it could store it within this bulb, this portion of the plant. And when all of that energy goes into the bulb, it says, you know what, we're ready to be dormant, we're ready to rest, and this happens. Your leaves start to fade, they get yellow, they get brown, they get wilty and crinkly, and that's okay. That's just the plant doing its business, doing its life cycle. Now is a really great time to store your bulb for future use. You can either store it in a cool, dry place and then bring it out 3 months prior to when you want it to bloom again. But I don't actually care about having it bloom for Christmas. I just want it to bloom again. So I'm gonna let the plant do its thing. I'm not gonna force it to go dormant. I'm not gonna force it to bloom. So I'm just going to transfer this bulb into something that will let me watch as the roots grow, watch as the bulb grow, and give me a really clear view of its life cycle without having to force it. I don't wanna store it in a dark place. I wanna watch it grow. Let's get started transferring this bulb into this glass container. This is a pretty easy little project. Here you're going to need your Amaryllis bulb, a clear pot, glass, and some cute little river pebbles. You can get them in all sorts of different colors, or you can go out and forage them. All right, let's get started. All right, first we're gonna take these leaves, these long, wonky leaves, and we're gonna chop them back. We're gonna cut them about 1/2 inch above. And I have this box here filled with compost. I'm just gonna mush them up, pop them right in there. If you want, those are really long leaves. You could dry them and store them for future weaving projects. Make little pot holders or baskets out of them. That could be really fun. But compost for now. Now all I have is this step. I'm going to remove it from the soil and crinkle the pot a little bit to loosen it up. As you can very easily see, it started producing roots out the bottom. Clearly this needs to be potted up anyway. Squish, squish. Whoa, look at that. Now Amaryllis does like tight spaces. So having them be in a container that's only just bigger than their bulb, it's actually a pretty good thing to do for them. They will be more stimulated to grow. So we'll break it up here. You want to be gentle, but I want to save as much soil as possible, because soil is really good to have around if we're going to be doing any other gardening or planting projects. Now I'm just gently teasing the roots, kind of breaking them apart from each other. I'm not ripping them, not damaging them, just breaking them apart enough so they know, hey, we're not in the pot anymore. We don't have to stay in that shape. Also lets go of any extra soil. And when we put our bulb into the glass container, I don't want a ton of extra soil, as having that extra soil around can actually cause root rot if it stays moist for too long. And we don't want our bulb to rot. which is why when we're storing it, if you wanted to have it bloom for Christmas, storing it, forcing it to go into its dormant period, you want to take all this soil off anyway. You just want that bulb because you don't want any sort of little bits of moisture to cling to it. So it's not as big of a deal because I'm going to have it growing. It's going to be watered anyway, but I just want it to stay clear enough that I can see what's going on. Wow, we've got some beautiful roots here. We can really tell how root systems are an integral part of preventing erosion in the landscape. All of these little tiny pieces of roots are holding on to that soil so tremendously well. Good job, bulb. All right. It's hard to believe that this fit in here with all that soil. But now, here's the fun part. I'm going to remove any little bits of root that looks not quite as healthy. You'll see that they've turned from this nice kind of tan or whitish color to more of a mushy brown. If that's the case, you want to remove those parts, help stimulate root growth in the future. So I'm going to do a little bit of pruning here before I pop it into my container just to make sure it fits. Okay. This is just to test that it fits. Excellent. It'll fit. And we don't want a ton of space along the sides for that amaryllis. They like those small areas. So now I'm going to add a couple of rocks. These rocks are going to make it look really pretty, but they're also going to help tell the bulb, hey, the water's down here, let's direct your roots down. So we want a tiny layer. You don't want to see the bottom of your container anymore. There we go. Then you are going to want to set your amaryllis very gently inside the container. Ultimately, when you put your bulb in, you want your bulb to be pretty high up in the container. You don't want it sitting on the bottom there. This is also going to increase air circulation to prevent rotting and give the amaryllis some space to grow. Now, gently shake in the rocks to cover it up so that the bulb can rest without you having to hold on to it. While this is perfectly good, you may want to give it a little shake, help the rocks and the roots settle a little, and then add some more. You can see now the rocks went down, exposing more roots. I'm gonna add a couple more. And there we go. You have your amaryllis, and now it's going to be really amazing. You get to watch the root growth over time. You get to watch as the bulb starts to put its energy out into new growth. And this can be a really great thing to watch year round. And then when it's done being dormant, when it's had its breather, all the energy from that bulb is going to go to produce that floral stalk again. You'll have these beautiful blooms, and we repeat the process over and over, provided it's getting enough light and enough nutrients in. So we've got a piece that's really nice to have on display throughout the year, but we need to figure out how to care for it. Amaryllis really likes light. They like to grow, and this light is helping them go through photosynthesis. So putting them next to a window, you can see I have all of my plants in that area. They get some pretty good light, and you can see that pinkish purple glow there in the corner. I do also have grow lights on for some of the morning time when they're not getting as much direct sunlight. But this guy likes light, so put it in an area where it will be able to see the sky. Then you're going to want to water it. When you water an amaryllis, you don't want to water from the top, because if you're pouring in water right here, there's a lot of cracks and crevices that the water can seep into, and they kind of just sit there, and that will increase your risk of rot. So we're going to water the rocks right around the edge. One of the benefits of the clear container is that you can see the water level. And I don't want to water all the way up to the top. I don't want to water the bulb. The roots are going to be uptaking that water to give to the bulb and the future floral stalk and leaves that grow. So I only want to water about 1/2 to 2/3 of the way up. You can kind of see the water level right there. It's a little hard because, you know, water is also clear. But now that I have that watered, that's as far up as I want it to go. That's all that's needed. And you put it in the light, you give it its water, you'll be able to see as the water level decreases when your plant wants to be watered again. If it's not uptaking the water very quickly, which it's not going to be doing in a dormant state, you don't need to keep adding water to it. But as it spends the energy to produce its next floral stalk, you're going to see that water level go down. You're going to need to add just a little more to make sure that it has enough water to survive.